Hmm. All right, my friends. Today I'm going to show you some tips on placing well, not placing ceilings, but placing lighting fixtures onto your ceilings. It's a little bit of trick to it, and I will just go through those. This should be pretty straightforward, but some people go, what, when they're doing it, and so this should dispel some of those issues. Okay, so let me share my screen, and we'll go from there. All right, so here we are in Revit, and what I want to do is jump to my reflected ceiling plan. That makes sense, right? Okay, ceiling on the first floor. Okay, here we go. There we go. If you remember, I'll pop to the first floor so you can see where we are. In the first floor, when you first come in the front door, you're in the lobby here, and there's a bathroom straight away, and reception off to the right, and off to the left, a conference room, okay? A little seating area under the stair. So when we're in the ceiling plan, what I did was, let me just show you. I'm going to move my cut over here. I'm going to show you. I dropped a soffit down, and I've got a ceiling here that's popped up over my lobby, okay? And so when you go upstairs, of course, there's not a ceiling across there, duh, right? So that's the ceiling there, and there's that little soffit. But this is a gypboard ceiling, and we got a gypboard ceiling also in my bathroom. But over here in the conference room, we just got an acoustical tile ceiling. So I'm just using these pieces and parts to show you guys how to place correctly different lighting fixtures that you have that are loaded into your project. Okay, so let's put a little light in this bathroom for a second, okay? Let's say we want to have a surface mounted light, or, oh, how about one of those acoustical parabolic lights? Like a 2 foot by 4 foot would fit in here perfectly fine. So let's just go. I'm gonna go down to families. I'm gonna go down to lighting fixtures. And here is a, not exit lights, fluorescent. There we go, fluorescent mounted. I'm gonna get a 1 by 4. So all I do, this is how I place families into my project. I go down to the families and I find the correct category, and then I find the fixture I want, I expand it, and then I find the type of that fixture that I want. So I'm gonna take this 1 by 4 and drag it over, and I'm just gonna place it in this room, okay? There we go, bam. So you don't even try to center it when you go to place it. So let's just say this is where I want it, and I could put a sconce in this room or whatnot, but what I'm gonna do is rotate it so that it rotates 90 degrees. But clearly that's not where it goes. And this is clearly not in the center of the room. So I'm going to show you guys how to center things quickly, okay? There's 2 different ways you can use Revit to center things. I'm going to get this out of the way. Okay, so 2 different ways of centering objects. You can use dimensions or you can use a line. So here's where we go. If I want a detail line is view specific, and I'm going to hit DL on the keyboard for a detail line. And I've got a whole bunch of different line styles here that I can pick from, but I made a line style called a red line, and it's a number 7. It's nice and wide. And so I use that whenever I am just quickly adding extra lines to mirror over, or extra lines for use to snap to center point, stuff like that, so that they stand out and I remember to erase them. That's why they're red. Okay, so here's how I would put a line in here. Yes, I could put a line straight across the room, and we know that this has a center point on it, and it's going to be near impossible to get this guy to align if you use the AL, align with the center of that, because it won't pick it up. So that is not a good strategy, is putting a line across, because we know it has a midpoint. And so what I could do is draw yet another line at the midpoint. Now we have a center left and right. And I could use modify, align, and I always use AL on the keyboard. Go to this line, fixture, okay? That's kind of slow and convoluted. I don't like doing that because you're having to add too many lines. So let's just get rid of those. And I'm going to take this guy and move it out of the way so it's not centered. Here's a quicker way to do it. If you want to use a line, you can go from one corner of the room opposite the other side, okay? Now the light fixture can find the center of this. When I just grab the light fixture and drag it around, okay? When it's on the line will highlight. See? Off, on. The line highlights. And when you have it centered, you'll see a triangle, and that is center of line alignment. You know, it's the midpoint, okay? So that is the quickest way to get this fixture centered in this room. We could have used dimensions also, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, this fixture is clearly off center, right? So watch this. If I hit DI on the keyboard, it initiates dimensions. I can go from the left side of the room to the right side of the room, and then also pick the center of the fixture. And then I just place my dimension string up high. These are clearly not equal. In fact, the EQ right here has a slash through it. But if I tap that EQ, it will equalize this, okay? And it moves the thing in the center. It moves the object that you've tagged in the center. It holds the two ends and moves it. So that'll get it equal left and right, okay? I could also go from this wall to that wall and center and do the same thing to get it centered in the room, okay? That thing is dead center in the room, and it just took a couple of dimensions to get, you know, to get rid of it. I mean, to get it there. Okay, so that is to get a fixture centered in a room, okay? And then you could obviously put it in there and then dimension 1 foot from one wall, whatever. But that's to get it centered. Okay, let's talk about the similar, like a 2x2 fixture that would go on this ceiling, acoustical tile ceiling, and you want it to align with this grid. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to grab the 2x2, I'm going to drag it out here. Now look, this fixture and any light fixture that you have, it can't see the grid. It doesn't know the grid is there, but it does detect that it's attaching to a ceiling, okay? And we're not getting an error that there's no ceiling in this area. You would out here, see how it's got a slash through it? But when it's here, in this area, it has, the fixture shows up, but it can't find the grid. So what you're supposed to do, don't even try. Don't try to get it right on the grid. Don't even try, because you're going to miss it. What I want you to do is purposefully miss the grid, okay? I'm going to move this dimension, grid line out of the way, or section cut. Okay, I purposefully miss the grid because it can't see it anyway. It will not snap to it. So here's what I want you to do. After you place it, use a line, AL on the keyboard. Go here, you, okay? Go here, you. Now the edge is aligned to that grid line. And if we were to move the grid, it stays locked in place. Like I can take this grid and MV on the keyboard, move it to the right, like 1 foot. I type 1 and hit enter. And it slides it over. And I can click on any grid and say MV and move it up 1 foot, okay? So I can move the grid around in my project, and the fixtures that are on the ceiling will track with it. I can even rotate them. Okay, I'm going to rotate just for you, just since you asked, and then I'm going to rotate it back. Okay, look at this. You can pick a grid, any grid you want, and hit RO for rotate on the keyboard, and you can rotate the grid to any angle you want. And the fixtures will indeed rotate. They'll rotate with you, okay? which is really cool. So you can get any grid, your ceiling grid, to rotate like that. You wouldn't grab the whole ceiling and rotate it because it'll go outside the building. But you grab one of the grid lines and rotate it, and this happens. Okay, I'm going to hit undo. Now, here's how you can place fixtures also in this room, equally spaced, but get them to snap to the corners. Now that we've got one, we don't go get 3 more and then do a line, the line command. We can use this one we already have. So here's a tip for you. Highlight the one you've already got and copy, C-O, copy. And you can copy it and click the button for multiple times if you want to. So you don't have to do it every single time. But where are we going to copy it from? One of its corners. So I can copy it from like this one corner right there. So now I can copy it to this grid, and I can copy it down to this grid, and I can copy it to this grid. It snaps to those grid points, and I know that those light fixtures are in the grid perfectly because I used one that was in the grid and copied it to the others. Okay? Just showing you some tricks, how this works. All right. So let's say we are in this space here. We're in the main living room or living room lobby, and we want to put some fixtures. So you can use similar, but dimensions are the quickest way to get things in places. Let's say I've got a ceiling mounted round fixture. Okay, I'm going to grab one, drag it out here. Let's say I drag it over here, and look what I get. It is not wanting to go on the ceiling. And so what I realized, what your brain should tell you right now is this light fixture was not designed to go on ceilings. It was designed to attach to a face. It was a face hosted family that was converted into a light fixture. So it's not a ceiling based light fixture. It is a face based. Okay. And you'll know that also by looking right up at the top on the keyboard. I mean, up on the top of your the bar. Take a look. This is looking for a vertical face right now to place on. Okay, because it's in its mind. It doesn't know it's a light fixture. It is a face hosted object, and so you'll get these 3 placement options for any face hosted object. You'll get place on a face, or place on a vertical face, place on a face, or place on a work plane. So you have to click up here and click it to select place on face. And then you will be able to place it onto the ceiling, okay? That being said, I'm gonna go, I want 6 fixtures in this room, and I want one like centered here, and then I want one at this end of the room and one at this end of the room. And I'm going to have one down here and here and here. Now, obviously, those are not aligned with each other, right? They are wherever. So when you are designing your lighting layout, you can quickly dimension something. Like, let's say, since I'm going to have 6, I want this one centered in the room. I can use my DI, which is dimensions, and go from the left side of the room to the center of this, to the right side of the room. See that? It's working. And then I hit equal, and it centered it left and right. Bam, that thing is centered left to right, okay? And then what I want to do is hit from the edge to the middle of it, it's 3 feet. Well, I can highlight it and say, well, how about 2 feet, okay? So now I have got this one right where I want it. This guy, let's say she's down here. He or she is down here, and this one is up higher, wherever. I need those aligned. You can use AL for align. Align. Align to the middle, that 2 feet for that guy, and align to the middle for that guy. So you can get them. Use align to place these. And then I'm just going to go, I'm going to find out what the dimension is to that one. 5'8", and this one is 5'9", something. So when you click the object, the dimension string highlights, it goes blue, it's editable. So I'm going to say, I actually want that to be 6 foot And then I want this one to be 6 foot, okay? Something like that. Bam. And then I don't want to mess with these guys. So take a look. What if I click on these and delete them? I can highlight these and mirror them to the other side of the room, but I don't have anything to mirror over. This would be a good time to go ahead and use the line. I hit DL and I can just put a line straight across, because watch, I can grab these guys, use the mirror drawing an axis, and I'll use the center of that line as my axis. Okay, so mirror to the other side. So I'm just showing you using dimensions to place your fixtures in the right place, and also using lines to mirror just is the way to lay things out quickly in your projects. Okay, I mean, it's the right way to do it. Now let's say we wanted a can light, and by a can light, I'm talking about one of these, a recessed can light, and here's an 8-inch one, okay? And it snaps to ceilings perfectly good. Look, if I wanted to put a couple right here in front of my fantastic door, right in front of my door when you first come in, sure, that looks good, whatever. And if I wanted to put some supplemental lighting, okay, supplemental lighting in my conference room. I don't try to hit the center. I'm going to put in my 2 supplemental lights. There they are. Now look at this. Or actually, I'm just going to put one in. I'm going to put in the supplemental light, but I need it to be centered on this grid square. Remember? Put a line in. I'm going to put a line across. I can grab this fixture and just drag it, and it will find the center of that line. You with me? And then I can copy it from this grid corner to that grid corner. Okay. With sound effects, it's done. So let's say on the awning out here that's outside the building, I want to have like 3 lights out there maybe. When I go to place them out here, look what I'm getting. I'm getting a circle with a slash through it, and it says no. Because this light fixture was designed to host only on ceilings. And if I look up at the top, I don't have an option to click on a surface. It is pre-designed, it's built into this object to only attach to a ceiling. So some people would go, the jerks that made this, they should have made it a face hosted. Because this is not a ceiling outside. This is an awning, it's just a roof, and I cannot attach to it. That means I can't put lights up into a soffit because it's not a ceiling either. So you start getting into this, oh no, what am I going to do if I want to put lights in other objects that are not ceilings? That is the last thing I want to cover right now. Okay, so since my light fixture cannot go, I want to use this light fixture. I don't want to go make a new one. I want to use this one, and it only attaches to ceilings. Well, let's put a ceiling there. All right, so I'm going to show you. If I click on architecture and then click on ceiling, most of the time in Revit, we're using compound ceilings. A compound ceiling is made up of different layers. Like the acoustical tile ceiling has got the support system and the acoustical tile, okay? And there's another one, gyp board on 5/8 inch metal studs. It's going to have that 5/8 inch metal stud in there, 3 5/8 inch metal stud, and then it's going to have gyp board attached to it. That's a compound ceiling. It's got different layers, okay? Wood planks are going to have structure behind them, and then wood planks attached. But would you just scroll for a second up and look? You don't have to only place compound ceilings. You can place something called a basic ceiling, which is just a plane. It doesn't have depth to it. So if I click generic basic ceiling, okay? And then I'm going to go with sketch mode here, and I'm going to put my ceiling right here, exactly where that roof is. And it's going in at 8 feet. But you can't see it because it is it's just a plane, and it doesn't have any texture to it. It doesn't have any materials to it. It's just a plane. And so now, if I pick one of these light fixtures and type CS on my keyboard for create some similar, take a look. I can place light fixtures now outside out here in my on the awning. Okay, so I'm going to place 3 of them. 1 and 2 and 3. There we go. Those are great placement of those. But let's say I want this the light fixtures to be 2 foot out from the building. Okay, so I'm going to just go dimension out to this one. Oh dear, it's 3 feet. So I highlight it, change the dimension to 2. Okay, and then I can align the others to it. I'll say go to here, you. Go to here, you. But those are clearly not all evenly spaced. I want the 2 on the sides to be a foot in. So I'm going to go DI. You are supposed to be 2 feet in. Make it more, make it a little bit more of a, okay. So look, I put dimensions on them. So I'm going to click on this one and say, dude, you're 2 feet. And this one, dude, you're supposed to be 2 feet. Or whatever, who cares? But this center one needs to be centered on the door. Now, in this particular view, I can't see the door. So what I could do is go over to the underlay and change the underlay, the base level from none to first floor. And then I can see the door. Boom, see? You use underlays to help for alignment purposes, and then you turn the underlays off. So now that I've got it there, I can I can say AL, align to the center of the door, U, and then go turn my underlay back to none. So now I know that's centered on the door. Anyway, there's little tiny tricks like that. Use a line, use detail lines. And you ought to take the time to put a detail line in your project that is a red detail line so that you can see it in your project and you remember to delete it when you're done. If there's a big red line sitting there, you'll know to delete it before you hit print for your next set. Anyway, I hope that that helps you guys when placing light fixtures of different types onto the different surfaces and locations where you need them in your project. All right. Well, until we meet again, you guys have a fantastic time out there. Go put some light fixtures in, even if they are surface mounted light fixtures or ceiling mounted light fixtures or face hosted light fixtures. You can do it. Go get it and have some fun. All right. Until we meet again, happy Reviting. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.